When the weight of a major decision presses on your heart and mind, Zen invites you not to rush into action, but to pause and reflect deeply on three essential questions, questions that anchor you in presence, clarity, and integrity, so that whatever path you choose arises not from impulse or fear, but from the wisdom of your own awakened awareness. The first question is simply, what is my intention? Before you sign a contract, move to a new place, or begin a relationship, ask yourself why you are drawn to this choice, what deeper need or longing it meets, and whether that need arises from true aspiration or from scarcity, comparison, or the world's relentless push for more. In Zen, we speak of right intention as the seed of right action, and when you understand the root of your motivation, you plant a seed of integrity rather than a seed of regret. Bring curiosity and compassion to this inquiry. Notice if your intention is born of love or fear, of authentic purpose or the craving for approval, and allow the breath to illuminate any shadows so you can choose from fullness rather than lack. The second question is, what will I be giving up? Every door we open requires another to close, and big decisions carry with them the hidden cost of what must be released: time, energy, relationships, familiar comfort zones. And Zen teaches us to honor both sides of the coin by acknowledging the value of what we leave behind. Reflect on the treasures in your current life, the simple routines, the quiet friendships, the unhurried rhythms that sustain you. Recognize that saying yes to one path entails saying no to others, and ask yourself whether the potential gain truly outweighs the sacrifice, or if you can find a way to integrate aspects of your current life into the new horizon. In doing so, you cultivate gratitude for what has been and grace for what will be, preventing the invisible erosion of meaning that comes when we chase only novelty without appreciating the depth of what we already have. The third question is this aligned with my true nature? Beyond goals or outcomes lies the deeper question of whether a choice resonates with the essence of who you are, your values, your passions, your innate wisdom. Zen points us inward to discover our original face before life's conditioning, and in that discovery we learn that authenticity cannot be borrowed from a guru, a book, or society's expectations. It must be remembered from the silence within. Before making a big decision, pause in meditation, allow thoughts to settle, and listen with your whole being, body, mind, and heart, to the subtle yes or no that arises. Does this path feel like home in your bones, even if it is uncertain? Does it awaken you rather than dull you? Are you choosing this because you truly want it, or because you fear missing out or disappointing others? When the answer comes from alignment with your true nature, it carries a quiet, yet unshakable peace, like a mountain rooted in earth. As you reflect on these three questions, intention, sacrifice, and alignment, you enter a space of spacious awareness where decision-making becomes not a burden, but a practice of presence. In that presence, you learn that life's greatest decisions are not made in haste, but in stillness, not from a checklist, but from the felt wisdom of your being. And when action arises from this grounded place, it moves through you with authenticity, clarity, and grace, weaving the threads of your life into a tapestry of purpose that no external outcome can unravel. As you continue to breathe into the space created by these reflections, notice that the act of pausing already shifts the quality of your mind, from frantic grasping to calm inquiry. And in that shift, another layer of wisdom emerges, revealing how often we leap into decisions propelled by external narratives rather than our inner compass. And thus the fourth subtle invitation of Zen arises. Observe the stories you tell yourself about success, security, and identity, for these stories can obscure your clarity. When you catch the narrative voice narrating, "I must do this to prove my worth," or "If I don't choose this, I will regret it forever," you see how easily fear hijacks your choice, and you learn to disentangle the tale from the truth, returning again to those three questions, not with mental effort, but with gentle curiosity, so that your decision flows from authenticity rather than obligation, from trust rather than anxiety, and from inner freedom rather than conditioned fear. And in this unfolding, you realize that the power of a big decision lies not in the outcome, but in the integrity of the process, the mindfulness of each breath, and the compassion you bring to every aspect of your life. For to reflect deeply before action is itself an act of self-love, self-trust, and profound respect for the preciousness of each unfolding moment. And as you linger in this expanding field of awareness, where breath, intention, and alignment intertwine, you begin to sense that true wisdom in decision-making arises not from amassing more information or opinions, but from cultivating an intimate dialogue with your own heart and mind. You notice how external voices clamoring for your attention, social expectations, cultural norms, well-meaning advice, can create a chorus so loud that your own inner teacher cannot be heard. And thus you learn to create space around the noise by tuning into the subtle rhythm of your own breath, allowing each inhalation and exhalation to become a metronome for your deepest knowing, so that before you commit to any path, you anchor first in the still center within, where intention, sacrifice, and true nature converge into an unshakable clarity. You reflect on your intention again, feeling how it resonates in your bones, how the slightest whisper of hesitation signals a misalignment, how the smallest spark of excitement reveals a doorway you are born to open. This reflection is not a mental exercise, but a direct encounter with the pulse of your own purpose, reminding you that only when your actions are rooted in genuine aspiration will they bloom into meaningful fruition. You revisit the question of sacrifice, recognizing that every choice carries the weight of what you leave behind. Familiar comforts, habitual patterns, old loyalties, and you honor those losses with gratitude, bowing to the life you have lived, even as you step into the unknown. For in Zen, the act of gratitude is itself a profound practice of presence, dissolving fear and replacing it with humble appreciation. And you return to the inquiry of alignment with your true nature, sensing whether the decision before you feels like an invitation or an obligation, whether it lights you up or dims your spirit, whether it flows with the current of your being or fights against it, knowing that the right path may be uncertain, but always carries a quiet resonance in your bones, a subtle echo of home that no amount of rational planning can replicate. And as these three reflections deepen, you also begin to notice the supporting practices that make their integration possible. The practice of beginner's mind, where you release preconceptions and approach your questions with freshness and openness, thereby allowing new insights to arise. The practice of non-judgment, where you hold your doubts and fears with gentle curiosity rather than harsh criticism, understanding that every emotion is an ally pointing toward truth. And the practice of beginning again, where you accept that clarity may come gradually, and that each return to these questions is itself a step of awakening. Through this layered inquiry, intention, sacrifice, alignment, and their companion practices, you move from a state of seeking to a state of receiving, not as a passive resignation, but as an active embrace of life's mystery, recognizing that decisions are not endpoints, but portals into the ongoing dance of being, where the process of choosing teaches you as much as the choice itself, and where the courage to reflect deeply becomes the compass that guides you through change with equanimity and grace, allowing you to live not by chaotic reaction or frantic striving, but by mindful response, by grounded presence, and by the harmony of inner and outer worlds seamlessly intertwined. And so, having settled into the quiet chamber of your own awareness, where breath, intention, sacrifice, alignment, beginner's mind, non-judgment, and the willingness to begin again have each taken their sacred places, you find yourself at the threshold of your decision, not as someone grasping for an answer, but as someone receptive to life's unspoken guidance. And in this receptive state, you become attuned to the subtler layers of reflection that underlie every choice. You notice that your body often knows before your mind can catch up. And so you practice sensing the felt sense in your belly, your chest, your back. As Zen teaches, the body is a mirror to the heart, and when you pause long enough to feel whether it tightens with fear or opens with a quiet warmth, you receive direct feedback from the ground of your being. You attend to the energetic imprint of the possible futures that each option carries, not by chasing external outcomes, but by allowing your awareness to rest on the imagined scenarios, noticing which one resonates with ease and which one triggers resistance. For ease is the whisper of truth, and resistance the echo of misalignment. You remember that big decisions do not happen in isolation. They affect the web of your relationships, so you pause to reflect on the ripple effects. How will this choice touch your loved ones, your community, the world around you? Zen's teaching of interconnectedness reminds you that your life is woven into many lives, and choosing with this holistic vision is itself an act of compassion. You reflect on the cyclical nature of gain and loss, knowing that every yes is a no to something else, and you practice gratitude for what each closed door has given you, and trust for what each open door will bring. For in Zen there is no end but continuous becoming. You return to the question of time, whether this decision aligns with the pace of your own growth, whether you're ready for its unfolding, or whether you need more tending in the soil of your present life. Recognizing that rushing an important choice can uproot your intention before it has time to take root, and so you honor the natural timing of your own process, understanding that patience is not postponement, but presence. You inquire again into the nature of uncertainty, not as something to be feared, but as the fertile ground of creativity. For absolute certainty is a mirage, and in Zen, we learn that the unknown is not empty, but pregnant with possibility. And so you practice finding stillness amid uncertainty, trusting that the clarity you seek emerges not in spite of ambiguity, but because of it. You pause to remember your core values, those timeless principles that have guided you since your earliest years. And you ask whether each option truly aligns with those values of honesty, kindness, integrity, or whatever truths light your heart. For when actions flow from aligned values, they become expressions of your deepest self, rather than transactions of the ego. You consider the legacy of this decision. How will it shape not just your present, but the story you will tell yourself and others in the years to come? Zen reminds us that every moment is history in the making, and making decisions with mindful intention is a form of storytelling that honors both the past and the future. You bring your full awareness back to breath again, and feel the soft steadiness that comes when mind, heart, body, and world are briefly aligned, and you realize that the peace you sought in making the right choice was not in the choice itself, but in the journey of reflection, in the courage to look deeply, to feel fully, to remain present. And with this deep listening, the decision you make arises naturally, not as a forced conclusion, but as the natural expression of your being. Like water flowing toward its source, you step forward, not because you know exactly where you will land, but because you trust the ground beneath your feet, the clarity of your intention, the wisdom of your sacrifice, the authenticity of your alignment, and the power of presence that has carried you through this process. And in doing so, you embody the Zen way, living a meaningful life, not by chasing more answers, but by cultivating the capacity to reflect deeply, to respond mindfully, and to trust the wisdom that already resides within you. Moment by moment, choice by choice, breath by breath. If this message resonates, subscribe for daily Zen reflections and guided wisdom to help you reconnect, reflect, and become fully yourself. Until then, remember, let go of what you think you are and become what you truly are.